is another episode of the GoldenV podcast of Pre-Tape. And I'm here with Steve Ewen. Welcome, Steve. Back for another episode of the GoldenV podcast. We're talking about the Vancouver Giants ahead of a playoff preview of a series that starts tomorrow, of all places, at the Langley Event Center. And we'll get into why between the Spokane Chiefs, the number 3 seed in the WHL Western Conference in the playoffs, versus the Vancouver Giants, who sit as the number 6 seed. But one of the things I found, Steve, from reading your article today in the province was, due to scheduling conflicts in Spokane, the Giants get to start the series at home rather than on the road for the first 2 games, Friday and Sunday at the Langley Event Center. I think there's an advantage there for the Giants being able to start the series at home.
I think it gives them confidence. I think it gives them an emotional boost. I think it gives them a chance to really get their legs under them and really match lines the way they want to match lines. Having last change.
Right.
I think if you lose that first game, I think it puts a lot of pressure on the second game. Obviously, because you don't want to be going back to Spokane down too. So right. There's that factor. But I think it's a best case for them in terms of playing being an underdog.
Yeah, because they're an underdog in their series no matter what, right? And you dig a little deeper into the stats. The Chiefs finished 45-21-2. The Giants considerably lower, 34-26-8-0. And we know about the point differentials. We talked about Giants series in the past on previous episodes of the show where they were the lower seed of 2 and still managed to win a series. But this is a case too, where I was reading your article, doing some research on elite prospects, knew nothing about the 20-year-old gentleman from Vancouver, Crystal. And I should have his first name here in front of me as
Andrew.
Well. Thank you.
Yes.
Here's a Vancouver kid, 11 points shy of Connor Bedard's 143 points in the WHL 2 years ago, playing for the Regina Pats. So here's Crystal with 132 points. Vancouver native, played at Burnaby Winter Club, played for the Vancouver Vipers. And so this is a guy who sounded like, from your article too, might have a lot of friends and family there at the LEC to start the series. So there's a boost there for him. But just in reading about Crystal too, obviously a highly touted Washington Capitals prospect chosen in the second round. What are we seeing with Crystal? Because he's the top point getter, but didn't score the most goals. That was one of his line mates.
He's a fun guy to watch. He has the ability to both slow the game down and to speed it up. He controls pace, and I think he's very good at drawing guys over to him, drawing 2 checkers over to him, and finding the open guy. So he's as good as it gets in the junior level. He's a guy that probably should have made World Juniors. If you look at how they failed and how they couldn't score, he's a guy that you think could score. Lethal on the power play. I think that's going to be a challenge for the Giants is to stay disciplined enough to keep Spokane off the power play. So this is as good a player as there is in junior hockey. If you're going to go on, you're going to have to beat somebody good. This is a very good Spokane team that's standing in front of the Giants.
Yeah, and so I was just looking at some other stuff here too, though. Let's not throw the Giants too far down the road, because 6 20-goal scorers. Tyler Thorpe, 6'4". I'm just looking at some notes from your article and some stuff I found on the WHL site. Thorpe's one of 6 20-goal scorers for the Giants, 6'4", 3 goals against Spokane this season. So Tyler Thorpe does present somewhat of a challenge for a Spokane team, correct?
Oh, I think the great question with the Giants is which Giants do we get? Do we get the team that has been very good at the points against Spokane and against Prince George and against Everett, or do we get the Giants team that was lackluster against the Kamloops Blazers and the Seattle Thunderbirds and other teams at times that are lower down in the standings? I think if they come out and play, I think that this could be a very good series. I also think if they're not careful, this could be a 4-and-out.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. And I just actually was looking at some other notes I had here, because obviously there's 9 prospects in this game playing for both teams that are drafted in the NHL, and we'll get into those in a bit. But I just looking at my stat pack here. So it's Andrew Crystal with 48 goals and 84 assists for 132 points.
Mm-hmm.
Berkeley Catton, 38 goals and 71 assists, 109 points. And it's Shea Van Ohm, who's the top goal scorer in the WHL this year with 49 goals. But Cameron Schmidt has 40. Madison Leslie has 72 points. Ty Haliburton has 62. And we talked about it on a previous episode too, about the performance of Ryan Lynn as a 16-year-old exceeding 50 points. So there's some players on defense for Vancouver too that have the ability, and I want your thoughts on this, to stop that top line of Spokane.
I think you can limit them. I don't know if you're going to stop them completely.
Right.
I think what Vancouver, the asset that Vancouver really has is if you look at Lynn and Leslie and some of those forward units, they have a chance to make them play defense. They have a chance to control the puck and control the play, and that may be the best way to slow Spokane down or slow down their offense is to play in their zone. So I think the Lipinski, Thorpe, Mironov line, a big, strong line that is going to cycle the puck. I think you're going to see them a lot against the Crystal line. I think they're just going to try and wear that line down and really play in their zone.
Right. And so I had some other notes here too. Do you think the standings play a part in this? I mean, we know the differences in the seeds, but does that really matter in this series? I mean, we talk about this every episode and you always repeat it, but I've learned from talking to you all season that this consistency is a real factor. So you're right. I guess it depends on which Giants team shows up, because I've got tickets to Sunday's game. So I'm curious to see that. I'm going to be sitting there watching that right in the first 5 minutes of the first period in that Sunday game. Right. So standings we've talked about, and obviously Burke Hood plays a huge part in this, but in looking at the numbers for both goaltenders, I'm just looking for his name here. You probably have it.
Dawson Count.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a fantastic record this year. Dawson Count.
He was, I think if I understand correctly, he shared their team MVP. So as much as you want to look at the Cattons and the Crystals and those guys, this guy's legit too. So this is a very good team. It's got a chance to be a really fun series. And it really does. I think if Vancouver comes out and plays and they can score on their power play. They were 0-3-1-0 or 0-3-0-1. I don't have it in front of me against Spokane this year. They went 0 for 12 on the power play.
Yeah. So it was a 4-0 series. I have it here. Spokane won all 4 games.
But there was
an OT loss. Yeah, there was an overtime win by Spokane 4-3.
0-3-1-0.
Okay, 0-3-1-0. So we have Burke Hood, obviously 19-13, 6-0, 3.13 goals against, 9-10 save percentage, three shutouts, versus Cowan's 34-14, 0-2, 905 save percentage, 4 shutouts, and a 2.67 goals against average. So when you look at a record like that, that's a pretty sparkling record, and usually an indicator that when someone's got numbers like that playing in the WHL as a goaltender, you're on a pretty good team, right? I mean, let's talk. Yeah,
this is a team that could win the West.
Right.
Simple as that. And this is a team that Vancouver, if it plays, has got a chance against, right? This is, I think you're asking a lot of a 16-year-old Ryan Lynn, a 17-year-old Burke Hood, and a 18-year-old Cameron Schmidt. I think you're asking a lot of those young guys, but Cameron Schmidt's got 40 goals, right? Like he's shown that he can get it done. Can he get it done over the next 10 days against a very good Chiefs team? I think that's kind of the questions to ask him. Can Burke Hood withstand the pressure when it really matters, when it's lose and go home situations? So
because I was looking at special teams here too. Power play, penalty kill. I have 28.9% first. That's for Spokane. Penalty kill is third. Giants power play is 6th. Penalty kill is 13th. Is that a factor for the Giants in this series? Like if they got the 13th ranked penalty kill?
I think more than their penalty kill, it's about Spokane's power play. Right. And you have elite skill, as good a skill as maybe there is in the country on that Spokane power play. And if you're going to give them too many chances, the power play always outlasts the penalty kill, no matter how good the penalty kill is. So you're not going to, if you give them 6 chances, you're not going 6 for 6. As simple as that.
Yeah,
so
no,
I
it
think that's the
doesn't
key.
sound like that. It
No,
doesn't sound like
I
that.
think they're that good. So I
Right.
think more than their penalty kill, I think they need to be disciplined and stay out of the box and not give them 5 or 6 or 7 power play opportunities.
What about, I was looking at something else that stood out to my attention too. I'm just looking through it here. And one other thing for you. So these teams have met 6 times in the postseason. Vancouver beat Spokane in the 2019 Western Conference Championship. Does past record at all play a factor?
Not really. I think the teams are different. The coaches are different. I think they're 2 very good fan bases. I think there'll be a very good crowd in Spokane. I think if you look at, excuse me, if you look at cycles, Spokane's farther along in their cycle. They're expecting to win. This is a Vancouver team that might be better next year.
Yeah, we said that last year a little bit too, right? And I think it's like we're still talking about it a lot. I've learned from talking to you. When you look at the ages of players and the status of these players, and I was wondering too, that was my other thing, the way a guy like Andrew Crystal is drafted and he's still in the WHL, is there a reason why did he get sent back here by Washington, or because he's a 20-year-old player?
This is his 19-year-old season. He turned 20 in February.
Okay. So he could potentially be back next year.
He's age eligible. He won't be back next year.
Yeah,
I will bet my house he's not back next year.
Okay. All right. Well, let's wrap it up there. Thanks for doing this, Steve.
No worries.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking, because just looking at his elite prospects ranking and information on elite prospects when I see Crystal, and I was like, he's been obviously drafted by the Capitals, 40th overall, 2nd round pick. How much longer is it going to take him to move to the NHL, right?
He might be in the NHL next season.
Right.
I mean, he's. I think people wonder about his skating, wonder about his foot speed. He's just so smart and controls the puck so well that I think he's the kind of guy, if you put him in the right situation and put him with the right guys, he's got a chance. The fact that he didn't make the World Junior team is kind of absurd, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I'm sort of surprised at that too. I didn't know much about Crystal until I got obviously to researching this game, and I didn't see the Chiefs play this year. And so that's why I used my Elite Prospects account when I was looking at what he was up to. It's like, that's pretty exceptional.
He's special. He thinks he's one of those. He's a hockey sense guy. He's a guy that the puck finds him, and he goes to the smart areas. It's going to be a fun series. Even if you're a Giants fan, even if they don't do well, there's going to be some really fun moments. All right, thanks for this. Let's wrap it up there. Yeah, thank you, sir. We'll talk to you soon.